Hey, welcome to From the Top, a show where I talk to friends and musicians about how they got started and how they got to where they are now. My guest today is my friend Mike Given. Mike was a touring guitar player for years. He's taught, he's worked in retail, he's kind of done it all in music. He's one of the best guitar players I know, though don't tell him that or it'll get uncomfortable. He has some great insight for musicians, and especially young musicians. As someone who's done it as much as he had, there's lots to be learned, lots to take in. I know I had a great time talking with Mike and learning what he has to say. Here's my conversation with Mike Given. Hey, welcome to From the Top. I'm Matthew Facca here with my friend Mike Given. Thanks for coming.
No problem. Anytime.
Awesome. We'll get you back for part two, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
We'll start with a part two. That's a good start. I met Mike when I worked at the music store back in 2009. I think you were you were the cool part-time guy. Came in once in a while. Like, hey, Mike's here. Sweet. So, yeah.
That's what it was.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're kind of one of those guys, when I think of you, the first thing that comes to mind is like, you probably have guitar cables that have done more shows than I have.
It's possible. Yeah.
Or spent more time on stage, maybe, either or. But yeah. You played a couple. What first got you into music?
Ooh, holy smokes. Long time ago. 70s.
Okay.
1970 something.
Okay.
Just a friend of my oldest brother's came to the house, had an old Yamaha guitar,
Cool.
played a bunch of songs, and I went, I need to figure out how to do that, because that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Been doing it ever since.
Yeah. Time or two. Cool. Do you remember the first thing you learned?
Ooh, first thing, other than Smoke in the Water,
Sure.
I think was April Wine off the Electric Jewels album, Weeping Widow.
Oh, cool. That's
Had
not
that-
what I was ready for.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just
Nice.
had that cool two-finger little lick, and I just went, I need to figure out how to do that. That
Cool.
just sounds neat. Yeah.
Cool. Was that your call, or did somebody say, hey, check this out, learn
Nope.
this? Yeah.
No, and just older brother, I think, had the album, and I heard that song and went, that's neat.
Cool.
I have to do that.
Nice.
Another one of those I have to do.
Right.
So,
Cool.
yeah,
Did you start with lessons, or did you just start learning, or
never had a lesson.
never? Really? Nice.
Never had a lesson. And I don't know where it comes from, because there's nobody really musical in my family other than people who listen to the radio.
Right.
So it was just, I was all ears
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and tried to mimic exactly what I was hearing. So,
Cool.
yeah.
I feel like that's something that makes the best musicians, is like, instead of watching a video, go like, put it on fret 3 and do like, whereas you had to figure it out. So,
Yep.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah, on an old guitar that was found in a barn.
Cool.
And the action was so high, you could limbo underneath it. It was,
Yeah, a little higher than the lap steel I just showed you, I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
It was pretty high, and yeah, my fingers hurt and they bled, and yeah, I lost skin and fingernails. And, Yep.
Worked through it, and here you are.
Yeah.
Cool. That's nice. If anyone hasn't noticed, Mike ain't from around these parts. Boston, maybe, if I had to guess by the accent?
Almost.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. New Brunswick.
New Brunswick. Okay.
Still
wasn't
part
sure.
of Canada.
Yeah, sure. Cool. Nice. Did you have anybody pointing you to like either show you, hey, listen to this new thing, or this is what you should learn? Anything like that?
Well, it was weird because all my friends who I talked into buying instruments and starting a band when we were like a year after I started playing guitar,
Yeah.
I would listen to all my mom's country albums, all the Waylon Jennings, all the Jim Reeves, Hank Snow, and I would watch out the window until I saw my friends coming to the house, and then I'd hide those records, and I would put on my Led Zeppelin and my Kiss and stuff like that, because I still wanted to be cool.
Yeah.
So I always tried to listen and learn everything.
Both. Cool.
Yeah, there was no... I didn't have blinders. All my friends were very, Kiss is the best band ever, or Rush is the best band ever. And I was like, yeah, they're really good too. But do you ever hear this Jim Reeves guy?
Right,
He's got some great songs.
Cool. That's a cool way to go about it. That's
yeah. So I've always listened to everything and anything. So
cool. That's fun.
yeah.
I've known you to play anything and everything, in terms of like, you've just been a guy for hire for
Yeah, for
ever.
a long time
Yeah,
now.
for a minute. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Why don't we go right to gigs? Because I know you've played a couple.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Any standouts? Like, well, for example, you're probably the only person I'll have here where I'll ask, so how was it playing at the Olympics? Like,
Oh, amazing.
any standouts in terms of both either crazy good or train wrecks, terrible situations, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Crazy good. Olympics was pretty cool in 2011.
Yeah.
Did 11 shows over 10 days.
No shit.
Got to rub elbows with some really cool people. Ovechkin,
Cool.
if you're a hockey fan. Got to talk to him a little bit. Seen Wayne Gretzky at the underground where the trains come in, and
Right.
gave him a wave. He waved back.
Cool.
That was neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other standout shows that I've done with Donnie Peranto. The MTS Center in Winnipeg.
Oh, cool.
Did a sold out show there one year. I don't know what that place holds. It's a couple people.
Yeah.
And it was sold out.
Cool.
And yeah, so that was probably one of the biggest stages I've ever been on.
Sure.
I didn't know what to do. There was so much room there. It was,
Yeah.
It was play guitar or throw a football, one or the other.
Perfect.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Good. Yeah.
Train wrecks. Oh, there's been a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the that show with Marty, was that with anybody else, or was that a Marty show? Marty with Donnie, was that a? With
No,
anybody
that
else?
was a People's Aboriginal Choice Awards.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
So there was a number of bands. I think there was probably, I don't know, at least a dozen acts.
Yeah.
We were the only act that were asked to play 2 songs.
Cool.
Everybody else got their one song kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they had the red carpet, so we had to drive around the block. So because the MTS Center's on all one-way streets.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Winnipeg sucks for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Fix
we
your
had to-
city,
We had to
Winnipeg.
come from the underground parking, turn right when the red carpet was right there, drive all the way around the block so that we could pull up in our limousine
All right.
at the red carpet.
Perfect.
And then walk the red carpet and wave at people. And yeah, so that was kind of a standard. That was
Sure,
that was
yeah.
pretty neat.
Yeah, it'd be
to
hard
do
for
that.
it not to be. Like,
Yeah, guys handing you your instrument, and then you walk up stage, they take it from you.
Yeah,
And
right.
you don't see it again until they bring it to you when
Yeah.
you're kicking you out the door.
Perfect.
So
I think
pretty cool gigs like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the cooler things I heard you say, I was talking about when we worked at the store, talking about like a drum library. Somebody had done a Music City, Nashville thing. And it's like, yeah, it was played on by this guy named Harry Stinson, who's a big session guy. And you're like, oh, yeah, I remember drinking wine with him in a bus. Like, what? Like, how?
Yeah, Harry Stinson and Kenny Vaughan and Marty Stewart.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
yeah, we got to do a tour with Marty Stewart a couple of years back now, quite a few years probably, if I think about it. And we got to hang out with those amazing country legends for I think it was like 2 weeks worth of shows that we did. We did an acoustic set, and then he came out and did his regular show.
Marty said, cool.
And so we would sneak. I hope Marty's not going to watch because he'll be upset. But we would sneak the band into our hotel room to have some beers or some wine after the shows because Marty doesn't drink and he didn't want the guys to drink
okay.
either.
Yeah,
So
fair.
we had a secret knock and everything. We would get these guys to knock on the door, and then we'd supply the liquor, and then they would come in and tell us some of the most amazing stories about writing songs for Martina McBride and things like that were just like, I can't believe I'm sitting in the
watching
same
this.
room with the guy who wrote Wild Angels, which was like a #1 hit around the world for Martina McBride. So I'm sitting there going, I wonder how much money that was.
Yeah, right.
And I mean,
Especially
there's-
then with actual sales. Like, that's a paycheck. Like,
Yeah.
Cool.
And he was the most down to earth guy.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so cool.
I remember, again, the wine thing. I think Harry asked you to pour him wine, and you poured him like how you pour wine. And he was like, yeah. But
Are you going to fill that up?
Yeah. Y'all ain't never drank wine in Nashville, have you? Something to that
Yeah.
effect. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. A glass of wine is just that. If
glass
it's an
of wine,
8-ounce glass, it's an 8-ounce glass.
Yeah. They just call it a cup of wine then?
Yeah.
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 Cool. All right. Train wrecks. Anything stick out?
Ooh. Yeah.
Ones that you can say on the internet.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've had 2 drummers pass out on stage during shows.
Cool.
They were train wrecks. Both of them 3/4 of the way through the show, and both of them, I believe, were alcohol induced.
Cool.
Yeah. Don't drink during your show, kids. It's
Yeah.
Not
Doesn't get you very
recommended.
far. Yeah.
Especially if you're a drummer. Just don't do it.
You're kind of needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had Matt Johnner on, and he said the same thing. He's like, we don't drink. This is a job.
Yep.
Once we're done, go, do what you got to do
Yeah.
to a point. But yeah, we're here for a job. Let's treat it as such.
Yep.
Yeah.
People are paying you to be there,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
right? So I don't drink at my normal day job. So why would I drink at my
At this
other
one, yeah. Yep.
evening job?
Cool.
And
All
I got a
right.
dog.
Yeah, that's right. Ooh.
Who's going to drink my
He's
coffee?
picked a new friend. Yeah.
Yeah. Here you go. Hey, buddy.
I keep shouting out Rampage Coffee every time it comes up. So even the dog likes Rampage. I don't need a sponsorship. I just think that's funny. So yeah. But if they want to sponsor,
Where are you going? Oh, right in the ear. Thank you.
Hey, personal space, dude. All right. Any train wrecks stick out?
Oh, just
Well, drummers.
those.
Yeah, sorry. Drummers passing out on stage. Lloyd.
Drummers passing out on stage.
That's
are
rough.
some of the more frustrating ones.
Yep. Well, yeah. You don't have much of a show left after that. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Having years ago, one of the first bands I ever played in, and it wasn't so much a train wreck as just more of a tragedy. When I first started playing full time, playing in an all black band.
Okay.
So I'm the only white guy in the band, 7-piece band.
All right.
And at the end of a show in the States, I was the last one out because I would always do the dummy check. And somebody stopped me and said, that was a really good band. But if I knew they were black, I never would have hired them. So that was not so much a train wreck as just a wow.
For once, you always hear those things, but it's very seldom you see that stuff in public. You're like, fuck, this exists? Like, those are real people, hey?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, bummer. You know when
Yeah.
that would have been? Or when or where?
Ooh, 1982 in Calais, Maine.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy. Well, if that guy's watching, and I know you're not.
exactly.
Yeah, crazy. I guess the other thing that I often think of with you is your show prep is perfect. Both in terms of either if you haven't learned the songs, you're a good enough guitar player, you can get behind it, or just the things you bring, like you're not going to forget a guitar cable, that kind of thing.
No, backups.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
2 guitars minimum to every show. New strings.
Yeah.
If I have time.
Sure.
New strings. I only need 2 guitar cables. I always have 4.
Yeah.
I only need 2 mic cables. I always have 4. One of them is a 50-foot.
Yeah.
Plethora of picks.
Yeah.
And different materials too of picks, because some stages are really dark, and I find sometimes by just changing the type of pick from, say, a gator pick to more of a celluloid pick can brighten up your tone a little bit without having to go back to your amplifier and turning up, presence or treble, little things like that I just learned over the years.
Cool.
So that kind of prep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I harp on acoustic guitar players for that all the time.
Yep.
Every time I record acoustic guitar, I hand them like, here's 6 picks. They're like, why? Like, trust me, let's try it. Check this shit out. Like, yeah. That's
Absolutely.
great. Yeah.
And always thick picks.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
always thick.
That's where we differ. I can't get on the board.
Minimum 2 mil.
Is it?
Yeah.
Gross.
2
I have
to 3 mil is what I
Is it?
need.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have in my pick container back there, Devin and I once bought, there's some 5 mils came into the store.
Really?
So we got some.
They're just rocks.
Yeah. It's like, you might as well be using like the other end of a thimble or something.
Yep.
So, I'll make you try it later. It's just a stupid novelty to go like, hey, check this shit out. All right, now let's go. But yeah, so we have
I've got
those.
some 3 mil picks.
Okay.
I don't use them. Same thing.
Yeah.
They're just novelty, but it's usually a 2 mil.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right, nice.
And I need to control what the pick is doing.
Right.
I don't want the pick to take over when I'm digging in
Sure.
and then flex and move out of the way.
Yeah.
I need to make that call. I don't want my pick making that call. So
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I found I went thinner for exactly the opposite. I let the pick do a bit of compression.
Yeah.
But you're also a more meticulous player than I am. I every once in a while go like, man, I play way too hard. So I know you don't have that problem.
No. No, unless I have to. It depends on what what
Sure, yeah.
is meant for that particular time.
Or
So
a couple too many wines and it's the end of the show. Everybody's having a good time.
that might have happened once.
So I've heard. Have you met this guy Grant? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I know who he is.
Yeah. I've heard he's thinking about looking into wine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think he has shares
That's right.
in multiple wines.
He might own wine.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. In terms of, again, you've had a long career of music. Is there a favorite time?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think when I started, so we're going back to like 80, 81, when I first went on the road. And,
You went on the road at 7?
That's
That's impressive.
I was 8.
Okay, yeah.
I was
Sorry.
eight, yeah.
Bad math. Sorry.
And you played 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
You played Monday to
Right.
Sunday, or Monday to Saturday. Sunday was your drive day,
Right.
traveling wherever the next show was. And then when that all sort of came to a halt, and it's never really happened again since. So probably in the 90s, when I was still living in the Maritimes, because you would, I was working at a music store, which ultimately is now along a McQuaid.
Sure. They all
Back,
are.
yeah. Back then it was called Hug a Guitar, and it was just a really cool mom and pop store.
Cool.
The gentleman and his son ran the store. Super cool guys. And we had lots of leniency with pricing if,
Right, yeah.
nobody was on commission, but you certainly wanted to sell. And then I taught in the store. So I worked in the store Monday to Saturday, different hours. I taught in the store 4 nights a week, and I played 3 nights a week.
I'm not very good at math, but I don't know when
That's
the hell
more
anything
than 8
happens.
days a
Yeah.
And that was probably one of my more favorite times
Sure.
because I was back to kind of like working 6 nights a week
Right.
in the music industry, but I was home every night.
Sure.
So that was a good time.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
you got to do lots of playing.
Yeah.
You know,
I imagine that probably one of the best players you were at that time, for sure.
I think so. Yeah.
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 Cool.
I knew every Nirvana song
Yeah.
ever recorded because I had students that
Right.
were huge Kurt Cobain fans
Sure.
at that time. And we sat down. I had 3 students, a young girl and 2 young guys. And we charted every Nirvana song
Cool.
off
Yeah.
every album.
Right.
Yeah.
All of them. Wow. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
That's what that's all they wanted to learn.
Crazy. Yeah.
So
Cool.
that's what we did.
Yeah. So your next project will be a Nirvana cover band, I assume.
It could be.
Yeah.
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 Except I guess if you're playing guitar, you got to be Kurt.
Well,
Or
and
Pat. You can be
I
Pat
was
Smear.
I was just in Seattle
Yeah.
in December, and I went to whatever the Modern Art Museum is.
Yep.
They had a whole section just on Kurt Cobain,
Yeah.
and that was pretty cool. I got
Yeah.
lots of pictures and read lots of memorabilia, and
I went there as well. That place is rad.
yeah,
Yeah, same thing. I forget what it's called. Len told me about it. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to Seattle. What should I do? He's like, go to this.
go to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Went to a couple of Jimi Hendrix things that were there. A big statue on the street in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
That was sketchy as hell. Yeah.
Perfect.
I was walking down the street looking over my shoulder
Sure.
constantly.
You know, you're in a good music town when. Like,
Yeah. It was a
Cool.
cool town. I really liked
Oh,
it.
yeah.
It was expensive,
yeah.
but it was a really cool town.
Sure.
City, I guess.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it's just a cool feeling
Yeah.
place. Like, obviously, the market and all that stuff. It's just, feels cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to go back as well. All right. I guess we'll go back to the gigs. I just read a question here, but again, playing enough, do you have either... Actually, I kind of like the idea of this. Any pet peeves when it comes to playing with other musicians?
Ooh, guys who don't listen to what's happening on stage drives me up the wall.
Can you say that again for the people in the back?
Guys who don't pay attention or listen to the other musicians that are on stage. You have to work within those boundaries.
Yep.
And if your bass player is not listening to your drummer and your drummer's not conducting the show, driving the boat, the train, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
drives me up the wall.
Yeah. I found a lot of, there's a lot of drummers that's like, I'm listening to the click and that's it. Everything else can fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
who cares?
There's no
Like,
feel.
yeah.
There's nothing.
Or to go over and head bob, like, hey, we're going to double the solo. They're like, nope, that's not what the chart says. Like,
Yeah.
fuck off. Like, look up. Yeah. If you're playing in a band, if you're playing solo, do whatever you need to do. But
Yep.
rare, like, that's not the situation we're talking
That's
about.
why I enjoy my gig with playing with Donnie Peranto.
Yeah.
Is because if we're doing his material, he wants it as close to recorded as possible.
Sure.
And that's fine. And I enjoy that because it's good songs and it's good chord progression. It's not your standard 3-chord kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But when we're doing any kind of cover tunes, we do our version of that person's song.
Nice.
And we could do it 6 nights in a row if we were back to doing it, and it would be different every single time.
Awesome.
And sometimes it would be 2 guitar solos. Sometimes it'd be a fiddle solo and a guitar solo.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a fiddle solo and no guitar solo. Right? He calls the shots.
Cool.
So you have to watch him at all times.
Yeah.
So
That's the ultimate heads up hockey for who knows what the hell's going on.
yeah.
Awesome. That's great. That's kind of the, talking about the chord progression thing. I saw a Tom Bukovac interview where he's like, they'll walk into sessions. He'll basically walk like through the control room. The engineer, producer, whoever will go like 64-15. He's like, all right, sit down. Song is 6-4-1-5. See you there. That's it. Like the amount of repetitiveness that's out there is,
Oh, yeah.
it's tough. But
Yeah. And then you just close your eyes and
yeah, that's got to be like
Do
thinking of
what
him
you
and
do.
the Brent Masons. That's got to be really hard to not play exactly the same lick every time. Like to do what they do is amazing. Like you're basically playing the same thing, but you can't play the same thing.
I had a conversation with Brent Mason on the phone.
Also, not a sentence I expected somebody to say sitting beside me.
I was teaching a lesson. We were just starting, and it was back in my early days with Donnie Peranto. He was in Nashville, and he somehow got Brent Mason to record a couple of tracks on 2 of the songs on that CD that he was working on. And my phone rang, and it was Donnie, and he said, "Hey, I want you to talk to somebody." So this guy got on the phone with this really cool Nashville accent and said, "Hey, Mike, how you doing? This here's Brent Mason." And I used a 4-letter word.
Yeah. Heck, I assume, right?
And said, "No way." And he said, "Nah, son, I wouldn't lie to you." So we talked for like 10 minutes.
Cool.
And he said, "I got to get you get to come down here because Donnie said I got to steal some of your licks." I said, "Well, that'll take all of about 12 and a half seconds. And then we'll spend the rest of the day and I'll learn all your licks."
Yeah.
And his line back to that was, "Son, I only know a few licks, but I know them in every key."
Perfect. That's great.
So, and that's kind of what it comes down to is you learn that lick, but then you got to learn it in every key, and then you learn it on different strings because the lick on open plain strings sounds totally different when you move it up, 2 positions, and now you're doing it on wound strings and they're thicker and it sounds totally different.
Yeah.
So learn your licks. Doesn't matter if you only know a few.
Yeah.
If you know them in every key and you can do them in different positions, you know a whole lot more than you thought you did.
Yeah. Yep. Great. Yeah, that's just being on the phone with him is cool.
Yeah.
I've emailed him about sessions a couple times, and his session rate is not bad. Like, hey, Brent Mason, play on a song remotely is like very affordable. So if anybody ever has the budget, I'm going to do it. I might just do it for the hell of it.
Yeah.
So, again, with playing that many shows, do you have any regular show prep or like a practice routine, anything like that?
Well, again, I'll refer it back to Donnie. If I'm doing a Donnie show, my prep is running over all of his material, even the songs I know we're probably not going to do because we haven't done them in 2 or 3 years.
You never know. Yeah.
I'll still work on them. And if it's something that we haven't done for a little while, I'll usually pull the chart.
Right.
And I'll have the chart and I'll just sit it off to the side, or I'll have it in a binder somewhere offside stage, just in case.
Yep.
If it's a fill-in show with other bands, I'll usually chart everything, and I'll ask for rehearsal time.
Yeah.
Can we rehearse? Because sometimes you can, sometimes you can't.
Right.
So, and if we can't, then it's just working on songs and talking to the guys, messaging them, and say, "Song A, how did you want to start that? Because it's got a weird push. Do you guys do the push?
Right.
Or do you leave out the push?" Because sometimes guys don't notice that, there is a push in that.
Or the question, like, do you play it like the recording? Like, yeah, we do. It's like, let's go, like, say, even like Sweet Home Alabama, like, do you play the F? Like, what do you mean the F? Like, like, so you don't, but you think you do. It's like, where are we going? So,
exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. And then in your regular days, did you have an actual practice routine, or was it just because you were doing it so much?
When I was really young, my practice routine was I couldn't afford a metronome.
Sure.
So I had an old wind-up clock with the little bells on either side, and I would sit it on a shelf right next to my head so I could hear that
Nice. So you can play 120 like a son of a bitch.
Oh,
then.
like a
Yeah.
son of a bitch.
Nice.
So that was my metronome. And then I had on my back of my bedroom door, I had a mirror. So I'd shut the door so I could see myself in the mirror. So I wasn't practicing like this the whole time. I was watching my hands out there.
Cool.
Because there's nothing worse than seeing guitar players who play the whole night like this and don't make eye contact.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, so I would watch myself in the mirror.
Cool. Yeah. The other thing I think, I don't know if I noticed it about you or you mentioned it once, is your efficiency. Like I find when I go here, this finger lifts up like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
you have none of that shit.
I try to keep it closed. Same as this hand, my pick hand.
Yeah.
I try to keep it closed.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm trying to hide anything. It's just that if I've got to work my fingers out and back, and the same with this, lift them really high off the board and back, you're using up energy.
Yeah.
And you might not notice it after a while, but if it's a 4-hour night and you're into your last 3 songs, your hands are getting tired.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Just that, like, the amount of thought you've put into stuff like that is one of those, like, career musician. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And do I have to spread that lick out?
Sure.
Or can I minimize it and still get away with doing the same lick in like a cage or in a box kind of thing, and still pull it off and make it sound like it's the recording?
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I guess another question I missed, going back to when you were a kid, do you remember any breakthrough moments of like, I went from step A to step B kind of thing?
Ooh. Do I remember them?
Fair.
That's one question. Did it happen? I'm pretty sure it
Probably
did.
at one point, yeah.
What I always found, even when I was really young, and we all do it, and I still do it today after all these years of playing, where you feel like you're just hitting that wall, is even back then, I would change what I was listening to. So if I was listening to I was a big Kiss fan back then. I was a big Led Zeppelin fan back then. Bands like Crocus and Y&T that you may have not have ever heard of. They were metal bands back then. All my friends, we all listened to them. So we would listen to that stuff all the time. And after a while, it was just, you were banging your head against the wall. So I would change what I was listening to. Cool. And I might start listening to like Marvin Gaye or Sam Cooke or some of that old, R&B, bluesy kind of stuff. Because now I had to change how I was thinking to sound like that. And I think that's where a lot of my breakthrough moments maybe came from, was just changing what I was listening to.
Yeah.
Leona Boyd, amazing Canadian classical guitar, female.
Cool.
I don't know anything about her now, if she's still around. I hope she is. But I learned about her really early on. I was never trying to play classical. But to listen to her play and listen to some of those lines would make me go, how did she do that? Holy crap.
Cool.
And I'd grab my guitar and I would start going, well, that's a weird line. Like, how does she, why is that note there? Why is she playing that? Well, now it'd be like a flat 4, or that type of thing. And it didn't make sense to me then, but when I think about it now and I go, well, shit, I use flat 4s all the time.
Right. Yeah, just like a subconscious kind of thing.
Yep.
Like, yeah, cool.
And it adds interest for a country player, using those flat 4s and things like that are outside of the normal scale realm. It just adds a lot of interest to your playing.
Yeah.
So
cool. I always find when I get stuck in, again, whatever I'm listening to, or if I just want like background music to have, I go back to the meters. There's always something meters-ish that it's like, fuck, I should sit down and learn that. And you sit down and learn Sissy Strut or whatever. And it's like, cool. That's just like, it's a little different than whatever you've been doing. So check out the meters. So music was a living forever. What is music to you now?
Music is still kind of everything.
Yeah.
When I'm having a bad day, or like this week was not stellar.
Sure.
And just knowing that I was going to come here and talk music for a while, just moves all that crap out of my brain. It sort of recycles it and throws it away and kind of revives me, sort of thing. So it's still a huge part of my life. I still play guitar every day. I still do shows. I still sit and try to get the best tone ever, which, I mean, we're all tone chasers forever. So
cool.
Yeah.
Do you remember either what was the last thing you learned, or what's the next thing you'd like to learn?
Last night.
Good.
Last night.
Nice.
Heard a song by a new up-and-comer guy by the name of Zach Top.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with Zach Top. He keeps
coming up. Yeah. He's been up on 4 podcasts already, and I've only done like 7.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's great. Yeah.
Amazing. And rumor has it, it's a rumor, I don't know this for sure, he could have some sort of relation to Alan Jackson.
No shit.
Like,
Crazy.
Yeah, don't know if it's true.
Through Alan Jackson's road travels, I would assume.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah, that's the rumor.
That's lucky.
That's the rumor.
Yeah, cool.
He's got the same mustache and everything. But I'm just blown away by this young guy. He's an amazing guitar player, amazing songwriter. And I caught a little blurb of a song that he was doing last night just on acoustic. And it was a Vince Gill song, an early Vince Gill song. And he did this little slide. And I just happened to have a guitar sitting there by the couch, and I paused it and I grabbed my guitar and I figured out what he was doing. And I went, wow, that's going to be part of my
new
plan.
thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Dig it. I'm going to make you send that to me later.
Yeah.
Cool. He's he did a song with Brad Paisley, and he throws solos back and forth. Like that's a hell of an ask to go back and forth with Brad Paisley and hold your own easily. Like, yeah.
Well, if you notice the guitar that he's playing, it's the Brent Mason model.
Right.
Probably an amazing guitar. I've never played one. And but if you're sporting that guitar,
right,
people who are in the know, if you're not a player and you're using that guitar, you're just embarrassing yourself.
Exactly,
maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm not that guy. We all started from the same place at zero, and we work up from there. But I think his background is bluegrass.
That makes sense, yeah.
I think he's a bluegrasser from way back, from when he's maybe really young.
Cool.
Because he's got incredible bluegrass chops.
Yeah.
And then you see him play electric guitar, and you go, wow, he's got the Brent Mason stuff. He's got the Vince Gill stuff. He's got the Brad Paisley stuff. He's got like the whole kit and caboodle.
Yep. Even that album, like just the tone of things, everything sounds like it's from the 90s as well. Not just the songs or the style, but that it actually sounds like it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great.
Yeah. I don't know what he's playing through. I'd like to do a little deeper dive on the gear. I know he's a pedal board into an amplifier guy. Yeah. So I'd like to do just a little deeper dive just to see, because I mean, we're always curious as guitar players, what other guys are using. Mm-hmm. So
it's a very expensive curiosity to have, I found. Yeah.
One time in my previous life, I spent probably about $1,400 in less than 4 months.
Yeah, cool.
On just overdrive pedals.
All right, yeah.
To find the one overdrive pedal. Mm-hmm. That's embarrassing.
And then the question I'm going to ask, which probably already has the answer, you don't still own that same overdrive pedal, do you?
I own two of them.
Oh, you do? Yeah. Ah, shit. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Yeah. What are they for the nerds out there?
One is the first generation full drive from Full Tone. Mm-hmm. And the other is the first generation BB preamp.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. That's right.
And they cascade beautifully together.
Cool. You're the guy who taught me about Exotic. I'd never heard of the company before.
Yeah. And I found out through, can I say his name?
I don't know.
Dan Canfield.
Yeah, Dan Canfield. You can say his name.
I was in the studio here in Saskatoon.
Hi, Dan.
Working with some guys. And Dan shows up with a Divide by 13 head and cabinet and a BB preamp.
Dan's also a very expensive friend to have. One of those guys too.
He is.
So.
Yeah. And I tried to buy that preamp off him, and he wouldn't sell it to me. And a week later, I was on vacation in Toronto, and I walked into a music store, 12th Fret down on Dundas. Yeah. And I walked into that store, and the first thing that caught my eye was this orange pedal underneath the cabinet. Yeah. And I walked over, and I went, I'm going to buy that right now.
Give me that. Yeah.
I had it ever since. It's amazing. Beautiful warm overdrive.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, God damn it. Now I got to get one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Get first generation, though.
Do I? Yeah. Mm-hmm. New ones suck, do they?
Yeah. The Andy Timmons one is pretty good. The signature one is pretty good.
Andy Timmons just cost me about $400 on a delay pedal. So.
Oh, yeah.
It's rad. It's right behind you.
Is it?
Plug it in later. Yeah. It's great. Mm-hmm, yeah. Mm-hmm. What's up, guitar nerds? Now we're talking. I get like, overdrive pedals are just especially for me, like, because it's not always in my hands, it's in somebody else's hands. So, like, it's really hard to get rid of one because who knows when the hell something's going to be useful.
Yeah, so, I've got a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got an old Boss SD1 that has the Keeley mod in it. And it just took it brought the mids up in it, and it brought in a little bit more of the lows.
Yeah.
And it went from being your typical $89 Boss pedal to a pedal that I just won't get rid of now.
Cool. Yeah. Todd
I
had-
hardly ever use it, but it sounds amazing.
It's there, yeah. That they should write that on every guitar pedal box. I hardly ever use it, but it sounds amazing. Todd had an old SD1, again, 80s, 90s, whatever they are. He's like, it sounds like cuts like a knife. It's like that guitar sound. He's like, that's it. So yeah, crazy.
I got a Tube Screamer off of Jay Semco.
Yeah,
He wanted $50 for it. I gave him $100 for it
nice.
because he only wanted $50 for it.
Right.
It's serial number 856.
Oh shit.
So it's a really low serial number Tube Screamer. And when I took it home and I plugged it in, I was blown away because it didn't sound like any Tube Screamer that I've ever bought and sold 2 weeks later.
Sure.
And I ran into him and I asked him what mods were in it. And he said, that's totally stock.
Wow.
So every once in a while, they would put out a pedal, and probably all companies do, put out a pedal that's the one right there.
Right. Yeah.
It's another one I hardly ever use, but I'll never get rid of.
Right. Yeah. Those are those stupid things are just fun to have. So.
Yeah.
Did you ever get? I assume with your musical style you didn't. But you ever get that way into fuzz?
No.
I got a problem with fuzz.
Yeah.
Again, same thing. It's different hands, different
I owned
guitars.
a Rat, an old Rat for I think like 12 minutes or something.
Yeah. Cool.
And then never been.
Yeah. Well, it's like you're a working functional musician. I'm some nerd in a basement studio. I can get all kinds of gated octave stupid fuzzes. So yeah, different uses.
Yeah.
So let's say actual uses versus here.
Yeah. I use a Pog.
Yeah.
If I need something that's doubled for lows.
Yep.
I've got an old first generation Pog.
Cool.
And it works.
Yeah.
Stupidly good.
Nice.
Yeah. And it tracks really well.
Yeah.
Unlike the Boss octave, which just doesn't track well at all.
Which is why, like, they're in it's like the OC5 now.
Yeah.
It's like, just make it
And
better.
they still
like,
don't track.
Yeah. Like,
Oh well.
yeah.
I don't own one, so I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to. Yeah. It's another one of those things you own every once in a while for 20 minutes. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. What is your favorite music? Either for I want to sit down and listen to something, like learn something new, listen to something crazy, or I'm cooking, it's on in the background, never going to hear it kind of thing.
Last night I was cooking. It was my turn to cook. Everybody else was out, hockey, all kinds of stuff. So I was making chicken parmesan, and I don't cook. I'm an eater, not
That's
a
a big
cooker.
ask, yeah.
Yeah. So I had the recipe. But while I was cooking, I was listening to old country. So Zach Top for a little while, but then I went back and I was listening to all kinds of just a mixed bag of just really old, cool country, Waylon Jennings and whatever else kind of stuff, just in the background. But it changes.
Yep.
If I'm at home alone and I'm cooking or I'm just having coffee and, cleaning house or something like that, it's a lot of times Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast.
Yeah.
One of my favorite albums.
Also, the first time those artists are going to be mentioned back to back on this podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Or old school Van Halen.
Yeah,
First,
cool.
like 4 albums, still my favorites.
Cool.
Yeah. So like no blinders.
Yeah. Good.
Music is music. So,
Perfect. That's good.
Yeah.
Can you think of, I call this the first date portion of the show, first concert, best concert?
Ooh. First concert, 10 years old. Me and my buddy Brian Flynn snuck into Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Nice.
Taking care of business.
Bob Seger was opening. Okay. This is 1973.
Yeah.
I was 10 years old. That's how old I am.
If you can't do that math, you don't deserve to know.
Yeah. So we snuck in. Don't ask how. It
Sure.
just worked out. We snuck in. Bob Seger got booed off stage.
Whoa.
They
Crazy.
were not there to see Bob Seger.
Right.
They were there to see Bachman
Randy,
Turner Overdrive.
Get to the working overtime part.
That was my first concert.
Cool.
Best concert ever? There's 2. And they're probably, I'll put them both at number 1.
Sure.
Best concert rock, Aerosmith. Absolutely floored me.
Cool.
No opening act. They did probably 3 hours, something like that.
When and where?
St. John, New Brunswick, at Harbor Station, years and years ago.
Cool.
It was crazy. Best concert, rock
Cool.
concert. Best country concert, I put right up there with Aerosmith, was Garth Brooks
Yeah, I bet.
when he was at his heyday.
Right.
And it was in St. John, New Brunswick. And I was lucky enough to get tickets because tickets sold out in like 20 minutes.
Sounds right.
I was lucky enough to get tickets.
It would have been
Best.
that would have been in one of the times where you had to phone in at the right time to get
Yep.
tickets too. Yeah,
Yeah. And he was absolutely amazing.
sure.
I'm not a huge, giant Garth Brooks fan. I have a wonderful appreciation for him. What he did for country music in that era
Sure.
was amazing. He just commanded the stage.
Right.
And when he went, shh, listen, you could hear a pin drop
I bet. Yeah.
in that stadium. It was
Cool.
crazy.
That's a cool thing. I imagine you've seen it more than me, but like you watch the opening act on stage, and even if the opening act's killer, you can watch Garth Brooks walk up next, and you're like, oh shit, that's
Yep.
it. Like it's a switch has been flipped. Like, yeah,
Second,
Cool.
second favorite all time was Styx.
cool,
Yeah, in Moncton, New Brunswick.
nice.
And Rockin' the Paradise Tour, I don't know what year that was. Yeah, I can't even remember.
Yeah.
Would have been 80s, late 80s.
Cool,
And same thing. They were like 3 hours, no opening act.
cool.
And it was a story. It
Right.
wasn't just a show, it was a
Cool.
story. And yeah, they were
Cool.
amazing. Well, all original members, and it was just killer.
Nice. That's great.
Tommy Shaw was amazing. Dennis DeYoung was amazing.
Right.
Yeah, it was just a cool show.
Cool. I remember Todd Zuckerman was in town for a clinic
Oh, yeah.
with, I assume it was Pearl. I don't know whoever he
Yeah.
is, but it was at a high school. So we were the Long McQuaid guys. We got to, I don't know why I was part of it, but take some gear there to do whatever. And kind of helped set up sound. And it was just like a 14-year-old kid as the sound tech, whatever. And then I was heading out. He's like, hey, you sticking around to do sound? I was like, no, I got to go work. This guy's doing whatever. He goes, hey, are you sticking around to do sound? I was like, yep, I'm staying. You got to talk.
I'm staying now, yeah.
But yeah, just to hang after
Wow.
was cool. And like he talked about, what was it called? It was a clever name, but it was basically like he wanted to do an album of songs that are recorded in 7, but do them in 4, just stupid shit like that. So like, yeah, God damn it. If I remember the name, the story would land. But yeah, he was cool as shit.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah. I love his drumming.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
It's
the
like,
guy's just so precise and tone up the
yeah.
wazoo.
Yeah. Actually, there was a YouTube thing of a guy doing a backstage thing with sticks, front of house, backstage, every tech, everything, and they went through the drums and showed it all. And there's a lot going on, but it's
Yep.
well used. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Cool. Cool.
We've been lucky.
Yeah.
We've gotten to do some pretty
We've
cool
seen some cool
shit.
shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 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 The things you can see when you just, like started playing guitar in your basement at one point. Like, yeah. Yeah.
Playing guitar has taken me coast to coast, from St. John's, Newfoundland to Victoria, British Columbia, up through the territories, Yukon, a little bit down through the States, through Maine and into Massachusetts, places like that, down into Montana, North Dakota, places that I never thought growing up I would ever see. Growing up a poor kid in the Maritimes, nobody thinks about, even just going to Toronto.
Yeah, leaving
that's
your city,
just beyond, right?
Yeah.
Falling into guitar and then falling in love with music and guitar has taken me places that I can't even describe.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, it's an amazing world.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't think to ask you this. Do you have a favorite guitar or one that feels like home?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a Fender. It's not a
isn't?
Gibson. Yeah.
I don't know what else
It's
you
not a
have.
Martin.
All right. What is it?
It's a Lucky Dog.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Anthony
Nice.
Sims. Look him up.
Cool.
They're expensive, but holy crap.
There's
are
a
they
reason they're
worth it.
expensive. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. A friend of mine in the Maritimes posted on Facebook that he had just gotten this guitar made by this guy at Lucky Dog in just outside of Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I went, well, that looks kind of like a cool guitar. So I looked it up, and then I started following him on Facebook. And then I went to his website, and you can build a guitar, and it'll give you a rough price about about what it's going to be. So I built this same guitar about 4 times, Telecaster, butterscotch blonde, humbucker in the neck, which is unusual because I'm not usually a humbucker in the neck guy, but beat the crap.
Right.
And one day he has public sales.
Right.
One day I get home from work, I bring up Facebook, and he's doing a public sale, and there's that guitar that I had built 4 times.
Perfect.
So I messaged him right away, and I said, how do I buy this guitar? And he said, all you got to do is tell me it's yours.
No shit.
And I said, I want it. He said, then it's yours. And it took him 11 minutes to sell that guitar.
Wow. Crazy.
And I got it. The level of customer service
Sure.
with Anthony. He goes by Anthony. Don't call him
Okay.
Mr. Sims or anything like that. And some incredible stories that have come over the years since I bought from him. After I bought it, he called me up and he requested any videos I had of me playing guitar, what kind of amplifier I played, what style I played, what strings I used, how I liked my action. When I got the guitar, about 2 weeks later, came from FedEx. I had it, once he sent it, I had it in about 2 days.
Yeah.
It was set up with the brand of string that I always use. He put guitar picks in, because he even asked me what type of pick I used and what
no
gauge.
shit.
Yeah,
Cool.
very, very thorough.
Yeah.
When I picked that guitar up, it was like I was born to play that guitar.
Cool.
And that was 5 years ago. I have not played any guitar
Really?
on stage in 5 years other than that guitar. I always take another Telly, or I take a Strat. They're just for looks.
Cool. That's
And
great.
that's the guitar.
Sweet. I forgot about that guitar. I should have made you
Yeah.
bring it.
Yeah.
Damn it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an amazing
Cool.
beast.
Lucky Dog guitars.
Yeah.
Red. I know I think I see like when you share things online of those and it's just like, nope, I don't want to know. Like I know if Mike's this jazzed about something, I don't want to Google it. I don't want to know a number. I don't want to know anything. Like someday,
It's
Anthony. Yeah.
And basically he used to have a waiting list. I'm 5 years now. I'm still on the waiting list.
No shit. Wow.
That's how long the waiting list is.
Yeah. Cool.
He called me one day out of the blue because he heard we were having a big storm. He wanted to make sure that myself and my family
No
were
shit.
okay.
That's great.
10 o'clock at night. So that would have been midnight or 1 o'clock his time. I'm
Right.
not sure what the time change is there. But yeah, so he was up that late and was checking the weather around the world, I guess,
Wow. Yeah.
and saw that we are here in Saskatchewan, we're having a big storm.
Crazy.
And he called me
Cool.
and we talked for, I don't know, probably 40 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a good dude who happens to
Yeah.
make a ridiculous instrument.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
So if you ever get the chance, if you're ever down there, you can stop in. He's got an amazing
Never
place.
gonna go. Nope. Never. Nope. Nope.
Yeah. And if you buy from him, you'll never regret it,
Yeah.
ever.
It sure sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, and how he does his own pickups,
Of course he does. Yeah.
all the hardware, like he doesn't farm anything out. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, again, the last question, I think. What advice do you have for 16-year-old Mike?
16-year-old Mike, stop trying to be a rock star and work on just being a better musician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because when you're 16, I think anyway, for me, when I was 16 and I went on the road, I was 16 when I quit high school to go
shit.
on the road
Yeah.
with this all black band
Right. Crazy.
because I wanted to be a rock star.
Right.
That's what I wanted to do. And practicing was
Right.
you
Secondary,
You
yeah.
practiced when you were learning new songs on the road. That was your
Right.
practice. Yeah. So stop trying to be a rock star and just get better at your craft.
Yeah.
Get bigger ears, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Listen to more of what's going on around you all the time, because music happens when you least expect it.
Yeah.
You know,
Cool.
I live on an acreage.
Right.
And I hear the birds, and sometimes you hear a woodpecker,
Right.
and you go, that woodpecker's like in a 5/4 time up in that tree, right?
Yeah.
And then you start tapping your foot to this woodpecker, and you go, wait a minute, what am I doing? I'm not even drinking.
Yeah.
But music's around you all the time,
Yeah.
right? So just get better ears and listen to everything and anything. And don't go, I only listen to rock, or I only listen to metal, or I only listen to whatever.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, an A chord is an A chord.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're playing thrash, you're playing classical, you're playing country.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's still just an A chord. Work on that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. the best advice you could ask for. Yeah. Nice. All right. I think we did it.
We made it.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming.
No worries.
This is cool.
Anytime.
Yeah, nice.
I'll-
Part 2 coming up. Maybe that'll be the Gear Tour.
Ooh.
Gear Tour 2.
Gear tour.
We haven't even been drinking, like we said. Good.
No day
All right.
drinking either. Man, coffee.
That's right, yeah. Thanks, Rampage. Cool. All right. This is From the Top. My friend Mike Given.
See you out there. Be safe.
Ow. How do I have to cut there already? All right, I'm going to start again. Jesus. Take two, Lloyd.
And
All
I got a
right.
dog. Who's going to drink my
He's
coffee?
picked a new friend, yeah.
Yeah. Here you go. Hey, buddy.
I keep shouting out Rampage Coffee every time it comes up, so even the dog likes Rampage. I don't need a sponsorship. I just think that's funny. So yeah. But if they want to sponsor,
Where are you going? Oh, right in the ear. Thank
Lloyd,
you.
hey, personal
Thank
space, dude. hey,
You're a lot smaller than my other dog.
remind me to write that down. Remind me to write that down. We haven't even been drinking, like we said. Good.
No day
All right.
drinking either. Man, coffee.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks, Rampage.